Now for our first problem, graph g of x, which is equal to 4 over x, then compare the graph with the graph of f of x, which is equal to 1 over x. So the first thing you'll do here is we begin graphing f of x, which is equal to 1 over x. So that will be our initial task. So now I'm here in Desmos. I would write the function, which is 1 over x. Then hit enter. There. So that is now our graph. Now, before we move on, let me introduce to you some steps that will serve as your guide in graphing rational functions. First is we would want to identify our vertical and horizontal asymptotes. And second is we would want to state the domain and range. Third, we create a table and then plot the points. Then fourth, we would want to draw the branches of the hyperbola so that they would pass through the plotted points and approach the asymptotes. Now going back to the problem. So step one would be we want to identify our vertical and horizontal asymptotes. Now, if you try to see, the problem is in a over x form. And what do you know about a over x form? Whenever a function is in that form, the asymptotes will be both at zeros. So meaning your vertical asymptotes, which is x equals 0, will be here. That's your vertical asymptote. While your horizontal asymptote, which is y is equal to 0, will be here. So that's our step 2. Step 3 will be we would want to state the dominant range. Now in this problem here, the dominant range were identified at the last part. It doesn't matter, okay, because this example is from your book, but you will be ending with the same answer. Now state the dominant range. So the dominant range of any function that is in a over x form would be all non-zero real numbers. Okay, all non-zero real numbers. Next, step 3, make a table and plot the points. Now, I will teach you here a trick. Okay, some of you might remember this. So how do we create a table? Actually, you don't need to create a table. You would just copy the table. And how do we do that? We would graph our g of x, which is equal to 4 over x. How do we use our Desmos calculator? So you would type here the function, which is 4 over x. Now, what's nice with Desmos is you have here an option to directly open the table. And so the first thing you'll do is to pick your expression and you would click this button here and it would give you these options. So you have here a table, duplicate, or close, or delete. So you would hit the table. So you are now converting that function into a table. So there's your table. All you need to do now is copy it and you're good. So you would just write your table in here. You just copy that. After copying, plot your points, same as this. So these are your points, plotted points. And then you would want to do step 4. Step 4 now will be you would want to draw the two branches of the hyperbola so that they pass us through your points. So it should look like this, the red one. So just connect your points, make it sure to follow a curve the curve structure of it, and you're done. You're good. So going back to the problem, it says here compare the graph. So just use the graph to compare it. So the graph of G lies farther from the axis, which is very obvious. So the red graph is farther from the axis. When you say axis, the x-axis and the y-axis, and then both graphs lie in the first and third quadrants. Remember our quadrants? This is our first quadrant, second, third, fourth. So it's counterclockwise. So when you're counting, you should be starting from here and then you do it counterclockwise. And of course, they will have the same asymptotes, domain and range.